spring has sprung. It is so lovely to hear the birds chirping, to watch the trees start blooming, and sorry and tissues to my fellow friends who deal with allergies because the pollen is rolling and nature is naturing, and it is so fun to sit and watch. I have a beautiful view of trees and grass and flowers, and just watching how it blooms from one, it almost seems like overnight, it goes from one stage to the next stage. And it's just such a beautiful thing to witness and to appreciate how trees and the birds and the flowers, they just do what they do. You know, they don't need coaching. The rain comes, the worms come in for the birds. Whatever they need, it just comes to them and they live. The trees know that it's going to rain. And here we get some really doozy tropical rains, which is really nice to sit out and listen to. But that's what's nice about it. You don't have to be in it. We're right on our patio listening to it. And it is just lovely to see how spring is coming in full force. And I love that. And when I speak of that, it makes me think of my business, because all of us, we're in the same business. And that's how this business rolls. This business does what it does. I mean, people see it, they go for it, or they don't, or they want to have some questions answered. And we're going back and forth on putting together the presentation, kind of putting a different spin on it, updating it a little bit. We're going to try to put some videos in there, a little bit of animation, because that's what keeps people watching it. You know, when there's something great. We also, Rick did this morning, he put in a support ticket to ask for a professional presentation to be created by a marketing firm, you know, because we're not, you know, some of us might have a degree in marketing, but a lot of us don't. And we try to do our best in presenting the presentation. But it's really nice when you can just sit there and watch it with your prospect, your friends, your family members, and both of you are engaged, because it's saying the right words, it's showing the right pictures, it's inflecting when it should, and it's flowing out when it should, and it's coming back with a video when it should. There's nothing like actually watching a video, a movie, something that's telling you about our business. It's engaging, you know, as opposed to sitting there listening to somebody flip the slides and talk and do the presentation. Now, some of us are really good at that. Some of us can, you know, get the whole inflection in our voice going, and we can get really animated when we talk about trips and cruises and leaving a family legacy and how you want to change the business to the better so your family can remember you from generations on. You are the reason why they drive the Rolls Royce, because you put the time in today, you know, to work your third 365 business. And that's good. And some of us are really good at that, but a lot of us are not. And I think the company should put a professional video together so we can share it. And back in the day, we did have those things. Even we had the one, I don't know if you guys remember what Rick put on the back of one of our videos, one of our presentations, where we had Coach, and we had him saying, don't miss this, you know, and how he has seen people come and they miss it. And you don't want to miss that. That's some powerful words coming from Coach, especially for us who knows him and who've met him, and we've had time to sit and talk with him. And even for folks who have never met him and probably never will meet him, that's still some powerful words coming from someone like Coach. So we want to be able to put some stuff together, make it all nice and modern, and something that people can watch in, 20 minutes, get the gist of it, and make a decision, and maybe want to watch it again and again and again. And so that's what we want to do. I'd love to see the company put something together. So if you guys have some time and you want to shoot an email, a support ticket, and request a professional a professional video coming from the company, I think it'll be heard. So even if you know people in your team and you know people in another team and make that suggestion, I think if we really bombard them with support tickets requesting a professional video, that we'll all get heard and hopefully something can come together. Because I've been doing my homework, kind of checking out all the other ones that are out there. And yeah, they're playing their professional videos. And we know that the cake maker, the cake shop owner, did not do marketing, but they're showing this presentation, which makes it look like they did a great job on putting this video together. And that's what the company has done for them. So we want to kind of get a shout out and see if they'll hear us and do that, because it's all about image and it's all about how you market yourself. That is not changed. It's always the same way. It's all about your image. It's all about marketing yourself, marketing our business, marketing our company. And of course, we know we have the disclaimer out there that says not everybody makes money, but some people do make a lot and a little. It's really up to you. And so even to put things like that in the video, and I think I just think that'll be really great, because you guys remember, a lot of you that are on the call, when we did have those DVDs. You guys remember those DVDs that all we had to do was push and play. And that's how we even marketing our business. We would say, even when we did training and different presentations like that, we would have everybody point to the sky and then point down and push. And that's all you had to do to show your business, was point, push, and play. That was something that we did a lot of back in the day. And I think point, push, and play, it hasn't gone away. Everybody likes to do something quick, precise, and to the point. And time right now, no one wants to sit and listen to an hour video. And I think we can put something together where it's just that point, push, and play, and watch how we just explode. Because now everybody is more comfortable showing their presentation, because they don't have to learn everything. They don't have to learn the presentation, the slides. And I think the slides are like, I don't know, 23, 25 slides, something like that. So they're not hard. But if you're not one that's comfortable reading a presentation and talking and even just doing a presentation, it's going to hinder you. So that's why we have the SurgePro365.com. It allows you to go to the presentation. You can send people there. They can register to watch it at their time when they're convenient. And what we did, we just uploaded Charles Nicholson's presentation. But what we're going to do is we're going to redo that, and we're going to put something else there just until the company can really give us a professional marketing one. That'll be really, really good. But being able to take that DVD, and you guys even remember when we had DVDs in the magazines. Oh, the magazines, we're really going back now. So when we would hand people the magazines, they would watch the DVD, and then they had pictures to go along with the DVD. And that was just a really big way that we marketed our business. And it exploded. I had people, one gal who saw a magazine in a tire shop. I think it was Jiffy Lube. I'm not sure. It was in Colorado. And she contacted the company. And at that time, and I think they still do it now, I'm not sure. But at that time, the company would find out who lived in your city, and they would give you to them. And so that person was able to sign up in our team, not direct to us, but at least in our team. And so that story was really nice to be able to share. And so folks started leaving their magazines in different businesses where folks can read through the magazine and see what's going on. And the Success magazine is what it was called. And a lot of people are doing that. It's old now. You can see a lot of companies have the picture of their CEO on the front of the Success magazine. But now what they're doing is they're putting pictures on the front of a DVD. I'm not a DVD, I'm sorry, on a video or a YouTube video or something that you can just text to somebody and they click on it and they watch it right there on their phone. So we have to stay up with the times because things are moving. And and I know you guys remember that DVD. That's just telling your age, and that's okay. That just goes to show that you stuck with us for quite a while and you're determined to make it work for you. And I love that. But that's what we need to do. We kind of need to move into the future, kind of move into the now, what's going on now, you know, even to be able to post something quick on TikTok. TikTok, of course, they're trying to pull that down. I can't see it happening with all of the users that they have, but even something, a 10 seconds TikTok video, because that's what people are looking at, you know, and even putting something, doing like a little story. That's an idea. I just thought of that. Doing a little story. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. Reese Teresa, whatever her name is, but this young lady has gone viral on TikTok just from telling her story, why did I blank get married? And I found that out from a cousin of mine, and I tried to listen to it, but you know, everybody's different. Everybody likes something different. And all she does is sit there for, I think TikTok allows you to do however many minutes, I'm not sure what it is, but so she breaks those up, and it actually is a short story where she's telling why did she, you know, get married to this guy, and it goes on and on and on and on. And so I have family members, they love her story. They watch her story. She's already been on, I think it's Good Morning America with Robin Roberts. And now they're getting ready to take her story and make it into a short movie. So there's no telling. Her last check last month was $80,000 from TikTok. And all she started doing was just venting on TikTok about her life and what's going on with this guy that she married. And of course, she doesn't say it that nicely, but it just went viral. And it was just her telling a story. So as I was meeting with family members a few weekends ago when we went to our Prompt Tune family reunion, which timing worked out great, that's what they were talking about. You know, they were talking about this lady. And then as we were waiting for our food to keep everybody relaxed, I suggested that we tell us something good. Tell the table, all the family members that you're meeting for the first time or that you're seeing after you hadn't seen in years, something good. And one of my cousins, that's exactly what she said. It's all about the story. It's all about how you tell the story. And then she went into talking about this Reese Teresa, I think that's her name, lady who started telling her story. And she sits in her car and she just tells a story about this guy she met. And it just went viral because, well, of course, the guy turned out to be a serious character. But it's the way she's delivering it. It's the way she's speaking. And that's what we want to do. We want to be able to tell our story with Surge 365. We want to be able to share with people. We have so much with our business, from the membership to the concierge to the vortex for companies and business to make so much money, all the way over to Travmanity. If you want to be a professional travel agent, we have so much, and it's all about breaking it down. So that's an idea, to just even tell a short story about your business on TikTok. Just tell a short story about it. And you don't even have to be on camera if you don't want to. You could just film somebody doing something, some type of activity that you would do when you are on vacation. Somebody kayaking, somebody skiing, somebody in the water, a pool. And behind that video, you can talk about your business. And just keep it going, keep it going. And the more you post, the more people will be. That's a nice idea. I might play around with that because right now we have a lot to see. Just yesterday, when I went to go visit my dentist, she's lived here for all her life, I think. Well, she was in the military, so she's been here for like about 30 years. Once they moved here, matter of fact, she knows somebody who lives on the street that I live on right here on base. So she knows the area. I told her what my house looks out and sees the big field behind me with the trees. And she knew exactly where my house was because she used to live here on base. So just talking to her with all the different things that she does and have done. And I told her all the things that we've done since the last time I seen her. And so she gave me a list of places, again, that you have to be a native to know it was here. And she said, go here, go here. And she said, I'm going to write it down for you. I'm going to write it down for me. So she wrote down all these different places. And she said, okay, when you come back for your checkup, I want to have you got to check some of those things off the list. I said, oh, I'll have this checked off and then some, because that's what we do every Friday. We get out, we do something. If we miss a Friday, we try to do it on Saturday. If we miss a Saturday, we try to knock it off on Sunday. But we always try to do something at least once a week, be able to show people, telling a story on how Surge 365 is helping us change our family's future, how we are enjoying living in the now and not waiting for someday, because today is a day. So you always want to make sure that you're doing something. So if anybody has any suggestions, I am so open, because we all are creative. And when you start thinking about creative ways on what to do something and how to do, Rick was on LinkedIn yesterday, and one of my daughter's friends said, I'm ready to get started in the travel business. I need you to tell me what to do next. And I went, oh, okay, well, let's kind of, and that's where the whole video came in, because I said, oh, what can we send her? What can we send her to watch that she can watch and get a good idea? And so she knows Rick and I. She went to college with our kids, so she knows us. She's been over our house. She's gone on vacations with our daughter and booked it through our site, so she knows us. And so then when we started thinking about, well, what are we going to send her? We wanted to make sure that we sent her something that was very professional, something that she could see, maybe share with her husband over and over again. And so that's when we started saying, oh, man, we need a professional video. We need something that someone can watch and be willing to show to somebody else and can just text it to them and they click on it. It's just like YouTube. I know, Chantel, you do that a lot. You find a great musician who's singing a song. You'll send it to us, and all we have to do is click on it, and it takes us right to the YouTube video, and we can watch the whole song. And so that's what we want to do with a presentation. We want to be able to shoot it out to everybody. I know we do have the Surge Pro 365 for people to go and determine a time that they're going to watch it and when they're going to watch it. But wouldn't it be even cooler, quicker, and more precise if we just shot them a text and said, click on this? So we need to be able to do that. I'm quite sure we can, because I'm not that tech savvy. So I'm quite sure we can do that. We have that. I know in our Surge app, there's all kind of videos. Who are you following? Those different types of videos that are there that we can send people. So I know there's videos out there in our back office and in our Surge app that's on our phone that we can send to people. But just being able to do that and to keep it fresh, keep it quick. These people today, the younger generation, they want it quick. They want it now. They want to be able to show it to as many people as they can. They want to be able to blast it out and show it to however many people they have. Just imagine that. I think that's a great idea. And I know we have the capability, and it's probably already there. I haven't played around with our app in a while, but I do know that we have those type of videos that we can send out to people. But it's something about a modern video. There's something about a video that's showing something that is now, not a video showing somebody that's plugging in a DVD in not a DVD in a DVD player, because some of the kids don't even know what that is anymore. And if we want to connect to the younger generation, then we have to speak their language and get it out to them so they could see it. Because a lot of them are traveling. It's not everywhere you go. Even our group who went on the international convention on March 10th, it was packed. You know, they arrived, I think, in Jamaica. I forget what time of day. Well, yeah, I think it was Darlene who was saying they got there, but they didn't get to their room till 10 o'clock at night because of the traffic and how many people there was there at the airport getting into the country and all that. So people are traveling. That is not stopped. And if anything, they're doing it even more so. So, and then not to mention, you know, Glenn, we talk about this all the time. I know you and Rick talk about this all the time on how people are losing their jobs to AI. You know, they're losing their jobs. Technical writers. Rick has a niece who's looking for a job now because she used to be a technical writer, and she used to write covers of books and, you know, just the cover or the information about the author on the back of the book. Are you kidding? That is gone now. That position has gone to AI. And all you have to do is tell them what you wanted to say, how you wanted to say it, and poof, that chat GPT will kick out a whole blurb for you. And so that's why we have to make sure we stay up with all the different things that are going on. So I wanted to share that, and because I think that's pretty important. Anybody else want to share and add to what I said?
I like what you said, Brenda. One thing I can say about the company is we do have the technology in place. We do have videos to send out. It's about the consistency of going in that mobile app, because that's what I'm still using that, you know, and sending it out. It's just automatic. But a lot of people still today are into the touch me mode. Like, you know what? I still like to see a face. I still like to hear a voice. Even with all this going on with the world is changing, we get that. But I like to hear a person's voice on the other end of the phone sometimes. You know, and a lot of the boomers, you know, we're not a dinosaur. We're here with purpose. We are the people driving everything today. So if we are consistent, and I understand about having a professional video, I loved our video we had with the team, the one we put together. I absolutely loved that because it just felt like different people were sharing from their heart. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was just a different feel to it. When you're sending things, and I'm always thinking about when you're sending things out to different people, and it's just what it is. Some women will not listen to a man. So if everything you're sending out is from the male perspective, they're not going to click on it, or vice versa. Right. You know, it's just the real world. But I think we have a lot in place. We could get a professional. That would be great. It may take the company up to another level also, because we're the front runners out here. So that's just some of my thoughts right there. Back to you, Brenda.
That, you know, and that's so true, because when you're talking to a person, you know what they're going to receive from you. So if you're talking to somebody and you know that, oh, wow, she's going to need to hear this, well, then and like you said, the person-to-person, one-on-one, that's when you would call them up and say, hey, I have something you want to listen to. You got a minute? And hey, I just text that to you. Go ahead and listen to that. Go ahead. I'll listen to you right here. 3-way it in and click on it. So, you know, there's so many ways to do something like that when you have that type of tool. And like you're saying, we have tools like that right in the back office. I mean, on our mobile app, and be able to just click. You know, you're having I remember back in the day when you would be having coffee with somebody, you invite somebody out for coffee, and we had the little flip chart. Well, you figure now you have your phone, everybody has Bluetooth. I was out yesterday going, wow, I can't connect my thing to the phone anymore. If it's not Bluetooth, forget it, because you can't, there's no way to plug in your headphones anymore. And so but we all have the Bluetooth now where we are sitting somewhere. You can let them listen to one while you're listening to the other. But like you're saying, Chantel, that's so true, to just have the consistency and know who your audience is. Because you might have an audience where just send me the video, I'll watch it, and they'll do the same. And you might have someone who says, well, I don't know. And then you have to kind of hold their hand to show them what you're talking about. So even just knowing who you have, but what's the best thing about all of this is to have it all in place. So when you will come up with to whoever you're coming or whoever you're meeting, and then again, now we go back to knowing your tools and knowing what you have in your business. And if you meet a professional, then yeah, you can just send them that professional video and they're going to watch it. If you meet somebody else who needs something a little bit more personal, something a little bit more designed to them, now you have the video where we're all talking and we're all sharing it and we're sending it out to them. So just knowing who you're talking to is a good thing, but then just having the time too, because we meet so many people and sometimes all you can do is say, hey, go here and watch this. And yeah, just click on it whenever you have some time. Even something as simple as the surgepro365.com, folks don't even have time to do that. They don't even have, and you can go there. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, you're absolutely right. And the folks on the call, we've all been through the transition. Think about it, the transition of technology before the internet. We have all seen, like the old folks who was around before planes was flying regularly, before like the telephone was reliable. And you didn't have the party lines on the telephone. Is that on my call? We've all seen the rotary dial, so we've all seen technology shifting from the beginning days of the legacy company. We've all seen, like you said, Brenda, the DVDs and how effective that was, the magazines and how effective that was. As a company, we have to ride the transition and the shift. And a lot of times, companies and businesses will lag versus getting out ahead, because now you have to ride that shift so that your social media, you understand social media, and that you can, if you choose, advertise on social media or all the different avenues. Companies nowadays have to compete in the arena of providing the tools to mobilize the workforce, to mobilize, the SBAs, the travel advisors, and you're behind if you don't. And so if you're not in that arena where you've got modern ways to compete, the companies that have that appear like they're better than you. It's only because they're getting the word out. And so we've got to, if you can, write a support ticket saying that you need updated marketing tools or professional video or professional presentation video. Even if we have a professional give the current presentation on, for YouTube or for Zoom or whatever, but where we can get that professionally presented presentation out to the workforce, so that, like you're saying, Brenda, point, push, play, and to simplify that process. And right now we're not there. And so other companies that have a much lesser, product than they seem like, oh yeah, we're just making this thing happen. We're doing this, we're doing that. We got 1 million distributors, and people making money and da 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 da. And only because we're not getting effectively our message out, are they even able to compete with us? And so I believe if we start a little campaign, I just texted someone today. I said, let's start a campaign where you write a support ticket. We need professional videos. And I went to Touch 365 on my phone, and just to see what videos were there. And of course, with all the changes, you only have 3 videos that are there now. You've got the Vortex video, you have the video with the wealthy know, and then you have the generic, which is a good video that, are you looking for a business? But that's it. And so if you've got someone that, wants to see the presentation, you're leaving it to chance. Now, what Brenda was talking about is we're going to do, our version of the presentation. And then put that up on the surgepro365.com and make it so we can give out as a team and so forth. And prior to that, I was like, oh man, somebody else got it. Let's get it out.
Who else did it? Let's just use it.
Who else got it? Who that again? And we're realizing now that we've got to do it. That we want to do it, and to put our touch on it. But even there, I put a ticket to the company that even if they have a professional that comes in and does even that presentation, that's used to doing presentations, that understands inflections and maybe play some music in the background, if you don't want to invest a lot of money into a video presentation, use that one and just make it a professional presentation. But we've got to get the tools now. That doesn't take us off the hook, because a lot of people will say, because I don't have the tools, that I'm not going to do nothing. I'm going to wait until they give me the tools. That's not what we're saying. Because still, this is about relationships and establishing relationships. And like you said, Brenda, and telling your story and having a story to tell. Taking a moment and thinking about, what story do I have to tell? I know Darlene and Adrian just came back from a beautiful vacation. Well, a beautiful time in vacation in Mexico. What is the predominant story that I have to tell based on that experience? That even when I think about it and tell it, the babe leaps in the womb, there's something that happens in me. What incredible moment, whether it's a sunset, sunrise, good meal, right? Good people, what incredible moment did I experience, on this and on this particular vacation. See, if that story excites you, it's going to excite somebody else. If it stirs up an emotion in you, it's going to stir up an emotion in someone else. Back to you, Brenda.
But Rick, I am absolutely in agreement that we need a marketing makeover and upgrade, because you can share your personal story and all that, but first you have to reach the people where they are. And in society right now, the shift that is made and COVID accelerated it, is becoming more and more impersonal, which that came out earlier in this call. Even the meetings, you know what I mean? And we get comments from some of the team members that they miss the meetings that we used to do. Well, guess what? There's been a shift. Zoom is the way to go now. And it just makes sense. So, but we have to, like you said, to be able to compete and excel, maximize getting our product, our business in front of the masses and the people, we have to have the tools to reach where they are. So absolutely in agreement. Go ahead, Ed.
I was just saying, you're absolutely right, Rick. I'm saying you're absolutely right, Rick. And just showing people, I said time and time again what we have, but really getting in to the heart of what they want, where they are in life and what they're going for. What are their goals now? Because Surge is a tool. You can't forget that. Surge is a tool that will help you leverage your life so you can get what you want out of life. And with any tool, you got to know how to use it and where to apply it. So you have to ask and get to the genuine desire of the person that you're speaking with, or the company that you're speaking with, whoever is in front of you, you're presenting to. Get down to the heart of the matter. What are you looking for? and what do you want to do with it? You know, what are your goals? What are your immediate goals? What can I help you with? Because I'm here to help. You know, getting to that place, and with the help of AI and the technology that we have now, we can really dial in that message and word it correctly and just put it out and make it more personable, because that's what we missed during the pandemic. Yes, we got Zoom and all that, but whether people voice it or not, what's missing is that face-to-face, touch-to-touch, that in-person, you know, heart-to-heart. We miss that, you know, and to help people get to that, that's the beauty of travel. So why not use this technology to articulate that and just give it to the masses with actual pictures of us using this tool the way it's meant to be used, and that's to make memories.
That's true. You know what? That hits the nail on the head. And the reason it does is, even like my daughter's friend inboxed me on LinkedIn, hey, I'm ready to get started in the travel business, da 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 da. One of the first things that we was thinking was, what can we send her? But then when we didn't have anything, because here's why you're so right, Ed. When we didn't really have anything that we would send her that would tell the message, I said, well, Brenda, you really just call her, right? And like you're saying, Ed, the call to her to find out what she's looking for, what she wants to do, where's the who, what, when, where, and the whys is the first step anyway for anything, even before you just send out a video. Because, you know, in the past, folks would just basically send out a video, you know, if someone expressed any kind of interest, but never really clarifying their interest and what they're looking for. So even before you send out a video, you want to talk to people and find out, you know, be comfortable in talking to people to find out, well, what are you looking for? What are you trying to do? You know, is it to make more, travel more, save more? Are you looking for a tool that gives you access to the industry? You know, what are you you know, that conversation, we all have to become comfortable with and not afraid of that conversation. Let me ask, what makes a person afraid of that initial conversation? What are the things that make a person?
Rejection.
Yeah. Fear. What makes a person afraid of that initial conversation, which is really step one?
They have lack of faith.
Mm.
I mean, lack of faith in what they're doing, what they have in their hands, and what they believe they can help the person. See, they're not going into it as what I have is a solution for that person. I just got to find the way not to manipulate, but to reveal what's going to open the door to cause them to come towards us.
That's good. What makes a person afraid?
To reveal. You know, sometimes it's a preconception because you're overthinking it before you even make the phone call. It's like, believe in what you have enough to say, well, you know what, this is working great over here. It's working for all these. It can work for this person. And then calling to see what this person needs. You know, it has to be a heart-to-heart in there somewhere. How can I serve you? Because all the people that we have literally signed up in the last year, it's been that. Didn't see a presentation. Called me up and said, tell me, what kept you here since 2007? Tell me the truth. And then they listened and said, I'm ready to get started. Right there. Hadn't even seen the presentation.
That's true.
And they brought the top package and the SBA on the same day, literally. That's how much they believed in what they had heard before they even saw anything. Because it's all about what's inside of you coming out. That belief is powerful. Back to you, Rick.
But you know, you can cut straight through a lot of the stuff. I agree with everything everybody's saying. But what is really important, and it depends on who you're talking to, because I've been working with some team members right now that have been partnered for a few years, but really now they're ready to roll with it. And it's important that you ask the question, listen to what their vision is. You can cut through a lot of,
Mm-hmm.
to show them all of this stuff that we have, but this is what I thought of doing with this. This is what my vision is. And this just happened recently. I talked to someone, one of our team members, who has a huge vision, but never, the right question never got asked, and it wasn't the somebody from a big organization or a board. It was just their personal vision. What is your vision? Like you said, Rick, what do you want to do with this? Where you want to go with it? That way, you can go straight, cut to the chase, and give them the support they need for what they're trying to do. Back to you, Rick.
That's so true. Because otherwise it's like, okay, all right, you ready? We got a travel agency and blah, 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 blah. We got a membership and blah, 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 blah. We got a vortex and blah, 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 blah. We got a 7-day vacation stay and blah, 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 blah. And you're giving them all this information. We've got these bonuses and those bonuses. We got residual income. We got, and by the time you finish, the eyes are rolling because like you're saying, Glenn, you never asked them, tell me a little bit about your vision and what you would like for this to do for you. And then just pausing. And then letting them speak. And now, like you say, Brenda, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. But now you've got their attention. And because you're listening more than you're talking. And I've been guilty of that. And then just listen. What do you need? And even if you don't know all the answers, you've captured what they need. And then you can connect them to whomever else, leadership, we're all here, but to be comfortable with that, to be comfortable, with putting yourself out to get information, to receive information. That is so important in this business. And so even though we start this campaign of a professional video, which I still believe in being able to, once we communicate, with that person, to be able to say point, push, play, to use the workforce for duplication, but with the understanding of that first conversation that engages a person. Because I believe, like you're saying, Chantel, most of the people that come into business don't see a presentation, and they're not coming in because of a presentation. They're coming in because, like you're saying, Glenn, you've tapped into something of their vision, whereby, you meant to do it, or by just you were lucky. Back to you, Brenda.
Yeah, that's true. And a lot of us are always lucky. Anybody else? But I like the idea. Go right ahead, Brenda.
Yeah, I'd like to make a note. I got here late. I'm sorry. I was in the car, couldn't get on the phone, so got home. I'd like to say, in this group of everybody that's part of this team, we have a special sense of real sensitivity. Everybody that's here, and the people that I know maybe are just calling in and can't see us, or we can't see them. In this group, there's a high level of sensitivity of being aware, and we intentionally watch for the little signs that most people would never look for. And we respond to that. Our heart responds, our spirit responds to that. And knowing how we're centered in that, I can call Chantel or Glenn up in a moment. We're 1,000 miles away from each other. We can instantly, within seconds, be on the same page and the same thought, going the same direction. And that's true of many of the people here. When we make that connection with the people that we come in contact with, I know for a fact, the moment I know, we've got a couple right now we met in the airport in Baltimore coming back from Cancun, and we've twice sent an email back and forth. They just told us they're ready to get started with us. They don't know anything what they're going to get started with. They don't even know, other than to be in the travel world. That's all they know. And it's the connection, those few seconds, He pushed me in a wheelchair from one terminal to another so we wouldn't miss our plane coming back from Cancun in a snowstorm in Baltimore. You know, how much did I do try to intentionally or figure out what? No, I didn't any of that. He helped us. His heart showed. We responded. We're grateful. And now they want to hang around with us. They're in Baltimore. Of course, we got a reason to go to Baltimore too now, even more. So, guys, I just think Rick has been leading us, and Chantel and Glenn and other leaders have been leading us just to lead with our sensitive spirit. We can't, it's no technique. I spent years trying to technique in direct sales businesses to make something happen. I wore myself out. And we were fairly successful, but I'm telling you, I wore myself out. Today, we're just living and walk that the Lord is leaving us in, and everything else is coming into play. Rick used to say to me, Ron, just be patient. It'll happen. It's coming. You just got to understand that. You can't, what the part I can make happen is to keep my spirit alive and aware and sensitive. And when we do that, there's not one person on this call that can't make mountains move immediately. A couple months ago, Lynn and I, February, we planned something that hadn't happened since before COVID. And we ended up having a dinner for people not only from our church, but invited from anywhere. We ended up with over 100 people. We were hoping to get 50, 60 people. We had 110 people show up, but they reserved to be able to come. They just loved being together. People are hungry. They're so hungry to be socially unattached. They've been detached for so long by the government and bureaucrats and the media and all the fear that's out there. Guys, we offer people an opportunity to connect. They're desperate to be connected. They're desperate.
That's good. That's good. Good, Ron. It's the heart connection. This is man, it always comes back to that. This is a people business. How about that? This is a people business. This is a relationship business. What do you have of your heart that you want to share? Anybody else? One of the things I met with Ron, I met with Mary this morning, and this gentleman who has a company that talks about debt management, huge company that offers a public service. And so I wanted Mary to meet him so that we could connect to veteran groups and all that, and the different groups that we connect with. And in our meeting, of course, Mary also, she does, families with autism, and she has her own program to help families with children with autism. And do you know, at our meeting, the start of the meeting, I had Mary, kind of set her up and said, Mary, you want to talk to him about autism and the veteran groups you connect with, and people that are coming out of prison, so forth, that may need the services of hearing about debt management. And but we started talking about autism, and the gentleman said, I have something to share with you. I have a 24-year-old son. In fact, he turns 24 years old tomorrow, a child of autism.
Wow.
And the whole conversation shifted to the families and how to deal with children with autism. And he happened to get divorced as a result because they couldn't make the adjustment. And Mary was able to give him amazing information. We never got to the subject of the meeting. And it became just a downright personal conversation on how to help families deal with autism, children with autism, and adults with autism. We had no idea the conversation was going to flow that way, but it became heart to heart in a minute. And it was just so emotionally rewarding, the conversation. And we just let it flow. We had no idea it was going to take this route. And so we set up another meeting for next week to talk about what we were going to talk about. But that's just to show you every single person on this line has something heart to heart to share that opens up the door for the business. You know, not that you always go down the heart road first or extensively, but that may be the door of entry, you know, with that person to let them know that you care about them, not necessarily about just making money, but you care about them. It's
Amen.
still a people-to-people business. Back to you, Brenda.
Well,
Wow,
Rick,
that is so true. Go ahead.
let me jump in here while we're talking about autism. You know, we've been in that world as well with my son and his 3 sons down in Florida who are autistic at different levels. The point I'm trying to make here that I want to make is that because of their condition or their situation, my daughter-in-law has become, needless to say, not only a champion for their cause, but for them, you know, and to watch out for them. So she was involved in an accident. Unfortunately, God, you know, blessed us and allowed her to live. But through that process, she realized that law enforcement and first responders and things like that, people in that career, whenever they come across a person in a vehicle situation or whatnot, and if those people happen to be autistic, and if they're stemming or they're you know, acting the way that they would agitated state, they wouldn't know if those people were on drugs or if that was just their normal, you know, response. And so what she's done over the last, probably, I'm going to say year or so and a half, she finally, she started working with a local sheriff to provide awareness to the first responders and law enforcement about autistic or people with special needs. And so just recently, you know, long story short, there was a bill that was that got passed through the legislature there in Florida, and now is going to the governor's desk for signature. That allows is a program to allow people that have autistic or special needs family members to identify that in a registry, so that when law enforcement is gathering information about a situation, they'll know that, so they know how to respond to them and not, you know, respond inappropriately, if you will, you know.
That's good.
Because in a lot of cases, the way the person's reacting is very similar to someone that's on drugs.
Right.
But if they're not on drugs, you know, then they know they'll know some of the telltale signs, or at least have an indication of how that person is.
That's
and
good
so
stuff.
when my when my daughter-in-law started this process, you know, I told her, you know, you don't realize this right now, but this is a national issue. It's a national awareness that needs to be done. I said, don't be surprised if this goes nationwide or global once you get it, you know, approved or hopefully successfully signed off by the governor. Because, you know, she was doing presentations to sheriff's organizations that were representative from all over the state, because her sheriff championed that cause, you know, and knew that there was a need for first responders and law enforcement to know that. So again, I say all that just to kind of emphasize
that's huge.
what we're talking about here is knowing what somebody wants or what their needs are, so that we can, you know, provide them the solutions that we have.
Man, that's powerful.
Rick?
Yep, I know what you're thinking.
Rick, I hope everybody on the phone realizes that we've uncovered there are a whole slew of hotel and organizations right now, as we sit here today, that specialize in families that have autistic children. The issue or the problem that exists right now and solution is the fact that families that have children with autistic don't go anywhere because they don't know these places exist for the most part. And they don't realize that they can be accommodated so we can open up their vision and their dream for their family to explore the world, broaden their perspective, and we can be a solution for people in our communities all around us or within our families. How many people would be shocked to know that there's a hotel that they have the locks that are higher so a child can't walk into the door? They're specially equipped. They've got a staff that have been trained to help families. And it just so happens this past spring when we had a function that we brought a group of Boy Scouts, Mary Stanley did, from Minnesota to Buffalo, and she had her children there. And they had an issue. Little David decided to play a game and get lost, and they went into a panic mode. The hotel was totally prepared. They had the police there in minutes, and they found little David that they thought they lost. The point is that this hotel was equipped. I have to tell you, it was an accident. I wasn't because we just. And I'm glad that it was that case. But folks, here we are talking about a whole area that we're saying that there's an issue, and there is. But now we can be on the positive side of solutions for that family with whom it is in the tool that we own. Surge 65, the Vortex, Trapmanity, we got it in our lunchbox, guys, and we can put it on the table and let people have that tool. And that will cause them, by the way, they probably have economic issues besides what they're dealing with their children. And maybe they'll decide, you know what, if I could do this, boy, and I know a whole bunch of other people, you see, we can open doors for people. There's a real problem, and here's a real solution.
Man,
that's what we can be known for.
That's it. That is it.
Let me jump in here.
Go ahead.
Let me share this. This is absolutely phenomenal. And Mr. Micah, our grandson, with his phenomenal self, his mother, who is a champion, who will not give up on these children. That is the reason she received the MLK Award here by Tacoma. And she went out because they have a conference coming up next week and a month after. They're doing these huge conferences. So she is the frontliners that have to go out, check out these properties to make sure that they're set up for these families. And it has been such a hardship on them, just trying to place these people in a safe place where they can feel like I'm valued here. Somebody cares about me being here. I can be comfortable here. And it's a beautiful place. And she's about excellence. So as they went out into the field, they finally found, after several, one. So the work is real, and the families are sitting in here. You got to get out there with it. Micah has no limits. This kid has been everywhere that you could imagine. Now, I'm not going to tell you it was not without several things happening. We were, set up to stand by, and some of the things that we have literally had to walk away from was because of that. And we would do it again because that's where we're living, empowering people. And there's a whole lot of people that would travel this world. If in the autistic is so wide. I mean, it is so wide, it can start at a 1 and go to 100 in a split second. And you have to be equipped for that. You can't be getting ready for it because it's dangerous. So that part that she's doing with those police, that is essential. That's always at the forefront of our thoughts. And so that's the work we're doing with intention towards all these families, because there's a lot of them. And there's several people sitting here who probably never brought it up, who are living this, and it's real, and we're not going to get away from it. And so if we can take our causes to the forefront to help these families, what a blessing. What a life of quality they deserve and they can live, because we showed up and said, you know what? I'm going to help you. Back to you, Rick and Brenda.
Wow, Ron, this is what Ron and I and Mary and the whole collection And you guys, Glenn and Chantel, you know about the whole collection, but this is what we do. And I've been connecting Mary on this platform that we're actually building for businesses to be able to teach what she knows in the area of autism, and they call it now neurodiversity. And connecting Mary with these schools, I had her connected with this one instructor, or this one owner of the school down in Miami, and they are a whole. I mean, it's a major deal, major operation. They have three schools, and they're looking to expand. And there are some national standards in autism that they have to follow in order for insurance to reimburse and so forth. And Mary has some real world in her trainings and her offerings and her teachings of of normal. I mean, teaching autistic children to be normal. Where, Ron mentioned an event that we had last Memorial Day, and Mary drove however many kids, and her two kids who are autistic, you would have never even known that they were autistic because of the things that she's doing in teaching them. And so her principles, we're expanding, and we're going to share them with different schools. And we have a meeting on tomorrow with this company that teaches white collar workers skills to people who they call it on the spectrum. And these are the adults that have, different levels of autism. And so we're going to be talking to them tomorrow about some of the things that we can do for adults. The meeting that I had today, we were supposed to be talking about debt management and the services, the public services that the gentleman from Cambridge, it's a huge company, has. And I don't know if I told you, Ron, but Mary, when she first got out the military, she used some of their mental health services from Cambridge. And so she was able to come full circle and talk to him about that. And I'll probably be talking to you, Mariano, at some point because, I asked him if the gentleman that does debt management and offering these services, if he was tapped into the TAP program, and he's not.
Right.
And so I may get him plugged into TAP. But the whole conversation went on autism, and the techniques that Mary is using are revolutionary. They're revolutionary and
They work.
proven to work. And so people hide. So the gentleman that we was speaking with this morning, when the conversation went to his 24-year-old son who has autism, and we was telling him something like you were saying, Ron, as well, and Chantel, traveling and putting together groups that of families that are, have children with autism or adults with autism, and being able to plan out their travel, with timeouts, with all the things that are needed. And the new word for it is called neurodiversity travel. And it's a huge area. And Glenn and Chantel, you may get your daughter involved with that, but it refers to, and I did just a little bit of research I'd like to share before we end the program, but it refers to travel involving accommodations and strategies that cater to the unique needs and preferences of, they call it neurodiverse individuals, ensuring that they're comfortable and enjoyable and have an enjoyable experience. But here are some considerations and tips for neurodiversity travel. Preparation and planning. Planning things ahead, like you just sent that link, Ron, of the hotel. Accommodations. Choosing accommodations that offer quiet, calm environments, such as hotels with soundproof rooms or vacation rentals away from noisy areas. Transportation. Considering the mode of transportation carefully, from air travel, of course, and avoiding the crowds and all the things that would trigger an episode. Sensory considerations, being mindful of sensory sensitivities, noise canceling headphones, sunglasses, other sensory aids. Communication, ensuring clear communication, maybe walkie-talkies. And Ron, Mary was talking about this sensory travel sensory pack that they put together that includes a backpack. And Ron, on our show on Tuesday, We had Georgette mention her whole thing that she has formed for communities to come together within communities, forming a support group within communities at the local level. Routine and familiarity. Try to maintain routines and incorporate familiar activities. Flexibility. Be prepared for unexpected changes and challenges. But when you're traveling with the group and everybody understands it, everybody understands it. Researching those destinations, support resources. And this comes down to what you were saying, Mariano. Identify support resources available at that destination, such as local autism organizations, disability services. And Ron, something I learned from you on our show on Tuesday, Easter Seals is the largest provider for autism and the support services required.
Yes.
And Ron, the story you told about Easter Seals with the wheelchair and them paying for, say that story real quick, Ron.
Sure, I was speaking in a church for Gideons up in Syracuse after a golf tournament with an Easter Seals golf tournament, by the way. But this couple came in. It was a rainy fall morning, and this broken down van held together with duct tape. Guy had said plumbing, Jim's Plumbing on the side of it. He gets out and he gets his kid. He lifts the kid out into a broken down wheelchair held together with duct tape. So we went in, I did my speech for Gideon to the congregation, and afterwards we walked up to the couple, introduced ourselves. I was being very sensitive and understanding, but the question I wanted to ask was, don't you have a resource to be able to help get a new wheelchair that would work for your son? And it was, I wasn't trying to insult them. I was trying to be very sensitive. And it turns out, he said, well, because I own my own business. And it wasn't like some guy making $1 million as a plumber. It was a broken down van held together with duct tape. So anyways, I said, well, can you get, because I know this from Easter Seals, can you get a prescription for your son for a wheelchair from his doctor? Because he needs one. And you and I, we talked, and so I could say that. And he said, sure. I said, well, okay, let's talk Monday. Well, Monday I called Easter Seals in Rochester, New York. I live in Buffalo. Well, Easter Seals, Rochester, New York, delivered to that family in Syracuse on Wednesday morning a brand new self-powered wheelchair to that family.
Wow.
No charge. No charge, guys. We changed and helped that family's lives, not because what I did, but what we found out and connected them to and provided them the service. We helped deliver what it is we say is helping people more than, and I cared, and we prayed and all those things. We can't stop doing that stuff. But it comes down to when someone needs something, we got tools, we got services. Surge gives us so many different tools to help people in different areas of their life, but we all have different connections in other areas too. Chantel, your connections with organizations. We just have to maximize. It gives us a broader, we're in March already, but I sure some of us are still working on what really is God having for us to do this year. Well, he's sure showing us the way. It's no question the directions, the doors are opening. And I know that we need to go down them. So this area of life, there's no place, there's not a corner in the country that doesn't have an issue that isn't touched by autism.
Ron, and so even on the call today, the man said, people have, and you guys, I know you can relate. He said, people have no idea the mental health issues suffered during COVID. He got a divorce because of them having to be home and deal with their son and their kids. And he says, Rick, the mental health, people have no idea the mental health impact that COVID had on families. And for the first time, having to come to grips with whether it's children with autism or adults with alcoholism or all the isms. And I was like, wow, this is the time for us to come together. Don't hide your resources that you have. And I'm not just talking Surge, but the lessons of life that you have gone through. Mary took her lessons of life that she went through working with her own kids in autism and her PTSD when she came out the military trying to make it, and she turned it into a business. You go through problems so that you can be solution oriented to something. don't hold it. You know, you go through, financial issues so that you can be solution oriented to something. Don't hold it. This is the time to release what you have and watch what comes back. Back to you, Brenda.
That's right, Rick. You got to use your cause, incorporate. That's why you're going. That's part of the reason you're going through your situations is to help someone else. We did the Carnival ship tour here in Seattle port. When they got down to the nursery, Chantel asked all the right questions about the special needs, and they broke all of that down. The sensory, all of the issues. So yeah, if you look ahead, do your homework and research, there are services available for special needs. So we are eliminating the reasons for excuses. Is there not a cause? Yes, there is. Back to you, Rick.
Neurodiversity travel, the neurodiversity group travel represents an opportunity to go to these schools and these different organizations and say, you need to take people on a trip where they're all thinking the same thing and they're all aware of the same thing. You put that trip together, you have hit a market niche that is totally void, right? To be able to put those kinds of trips together. Back to you.
You know what, Rick? There's a couple of people. There's a lot more than a couple, but there's 2 champions in our company. One is suffering in the background, who is the director, and that is Fina, she is absolutely running her own race. She had to give up her teaching job to make sure her boys were taken care of. And she is running in a city that has no resources over there. And so we've been talking. So Rita Gross has the autistic son who she has been championing for years. So it's like everything's really in place here. It's about the people stepping forth in it. But if you bring this up right here, it's going to strike a nerve with a whole lot of people in this company.
Now,
and watch the fire that takes just from that conversation of bringing forth some resources to serve these families. And like I said, Tanika's the director over that here. A lot can happen from this call right here. Back to you, Rick.
Well, my whole thing is, it starts with the people on this call. Because we have the resources, we have the experience, we have the cause, we have everything that's needed to not even pass it to anyone else, but to step out in the leadership of what it is. See, that's what Ron is doing. That's what I'm doing. That's what Mary's doing. We have what it takes to step out and to take ownership and to leadership, and not asking anybody else actually for anything, because we got everything that we need to create the example and to lead by example and say, hey, come this way, follow me. And so that's my reason for actually bringing this up, because that's where wealth is created, with that leader, that says, hey, I see it, I got it, and I'm going.
Rick?
Go ahead.
Darlene, I know a young lady. I've known her since she was a baby, I'll say. She is a veteran, Air Force veteran. She has a son that's autistic, and she went into teaching. She's a special needs teacher, and she has a group. Her and one of her best friends started a group called Our Place, and they have events for children with special needs. Just about every weekend they have a big building where the children can go and, mingle with each other and things like that. And I've been talking to her because she wants to do certain things with the kids. So I will definitely get back with her when I get more information on what you guys are talking about, so that I can involve her in that.
Okay. Yes. And if you have Chat GPT,
Mm-hmm.
put in there neurodiversity travel. The term today is neurodivergent, but neurodiversity travel. And the things that I just read from was spit out. And it gave me the whole list of tips for putting together neurodiversity trips.
Okay.
And it gave me the whole deal. And so with the person who has an understanding, first of all, and a heart and personal experience, and then of course, Surge 365, this is nothing, right? Because just like, Chantel, like your daughter found one hotel, this is the cause that we press the hotels. This is the cause that we press the travel industry as we choose, just like we did for handicap. This is a cause. And Mariano, I just love what your daughter-in-law was doing, because how many people have been shot because law enforcement and first
Yeah.
responders didn't understand. I just saw
Well,
what a 13-year-old boy just got shot or something because he was,
yeah,
erratic behavior.
right. I gotta tell you a little bit more about her story, and I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me on this. But this started out when my son and was still on active duty. That's when they had the kids, and the military is sensitive to family members that have autistic kids, because there's only certain places that they can go to get the support that they need for their kids, right? So this issue really started from my daughter, obviously her personal experience and leading the cause on the military side. So when they got sent to Hurlburt Field in Florida, she became really involved in the local community there. And there's an organization called Emerald Coast Exceptional Families. And this organization is for helping those families that have special needs requirements or family members. So what ended up happening is, because of she actually became the vice president of the organization. I'm not sure if she still is or not, but the bottom line is that because of her efforts to make the military aware of the impact that special needs families endure on a daily basis, and how it affects potentially the performance of the military member at doing their mission, and all those requirements. She got to the point to where the commanders there asked her to share that information with them so they could be more aware, right? Well, as it turned out, because of her efforts in this particular arena, she was submitted to be a candidate for Spouse of the Year. And in that competition, she actually ended up winning it.
How about
so she became the Air Force Special Operations Command Spouse of the Year because of her efforts in this cause. Yeah, and so it's gotten not necessarily DOD concerns or impact, but there are a lot of other people now that are, and it just so happens that the 3-star general that was down at AFSOC, that was the AFSOC commander, is now up at the Pentagon, and he's a real champion of what my daughter-in-law was able to do, and so he's running up the flagpole, so that again the military understands how much of an impact and how much support is the families need, especially when those military members are deployed, a lot and stuff like that. So, well, the reason I also want to talk about this a little bit is that, early on when she was involved with this organization, she would send us requests to support the fundraisers that they have, just like we've been talking about here. And so what I tried to share with her was that if an organization participated in with our program, right, funding by travel, that she could have an endless stream of money coming in supporting their cause if people just book their travel.
That's good.
Using, and unfortunately they haven't really seen it yet. But I think now that we're talking here about this what you brought up about the organization that is trying to help people travel, that this might be the one thing that could make them see that this is something they need to be involved in, because it's going to help them in more than one way. So yeah, we need to talk some more for sure.
That organization is Usums. That organization is us.
Rick?
That has to be, a person that says, okay, I know this cause, I know travel, is in a very unique position, right, to be that business.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not even, we have come together, the stars have aligned, if you will, to where we have access to everything. Now think about this, yo. We have access to everything travel. Now it comes down, what is your cause? If you can relate the cause that you are passionate about to travel in whatever respect, whether it's group travel, whether it's fundraising, whether it's membership, wholesale travel, if you can relate your cause to that, it's a home run. It's a home run. See, think about what your passion is, and then put the travel business and all the aspects of it and say, man, because you're right, Mariano, because we've been doing this fundraising thing for a long time. You are like a walking expert.
Hell yeah.
And we know that we're overriding the return of travel. Even with these guys, I'm getting connected to some major network marketers in the things that I'm doing, building this business platform. And I'm telling these major networkers, I don't want to have to work like network marketing. I want to make money like Expedia, where I have a tool, the Vortex. And that tool, the Vortex, a person can book a hotel in particular, save up to 60%, and I want 60% of that money coming to me without having to manage it globally. And Expedia, 98 billion, 2019. People booking online in last year, $1 trillion. I want to override the return of travel. I don't want to work like we normally work. And so, big message, a lot of great information. Anybody else?
What was it?
Yeah.
What was the
Wow.
for again?
What's that?
Go ahead.
Rick, we can carry this conversation on for another 2 hours.
No, we can't.
I know Ron hasn't even started.
No,
Ron, I know you.
Ron.
We got stories, man. But go ahead, Brenda.
No. But listen. Hold on. Was that Adrian that wanted to say something?
Yes.
Go ahead,
I was trying to say two. I'll try to make it quick. Two things. Since we've been talking about this subject, well, the first thing I was going to say was that I'm doing this business class, and so that's one thing that had us go around the room. That the question was asked: how does our business make a difference? What is it that? Why would people come to us with our travel company versus other travel companies? And so I got to thinking, and because me and Deborah were taking the same class, we can't both just say travel or we meet all your needs and da-da-da-da-da. So I added to mine that I have a medical background, so I can help people with their accessibility issues and medical problems, and I can emphasize the fact that travel does help you be healthier and deal with stress and all that kind of stuff. And so that was one thing that everybody kind of said, oh, okay. Oh, they started thinking like, oh, I might come to you because, my family has limited, this family might have limited mobility or something like that. Okay, so the other thing I was going to say was, I know we're short on time, is because we're talking about autism and hotels being accessible, another thing we learned is there is accessibility compliance. So the internet has to be, whenever you have a website, it has to be compliant with Americans with Disabilities Act. And that's the W3C Web Accessibility Initiative. Is developed by international accessibility standards for the web to help you stay compliant. And there's a lawyer in our class, and he's also trying to start his own law business. Well, he's got his law business going, but he's also trying to branch out in other ways to people. And so he said that people can get sued, and they're actually being sued if they're not ADA compliant on their website. And that's making it so that people can view what they're looking at. There's no visual issues and things like that. So that was something really, I thought, really important, because he said, yeah, that's becoming a bigger thing now that they're looking at. And I know when we were at convention, one of the ladies stood up and she said, and actually me and Darlene met her, and she said that she asked Chris Coakley if he could talk to the web people and see if they can make things better visually for her, because she only can see out of one eye. And then so she asked for if he could just adjust some things. And so he's going to look into that, because she can only see, I think, partial things, and then certain colors and prints have to be bigger. So he's going to look into that issue. But that's just one thing I want to point out, since we were talking about all the things dealing with ADA and other handicaps. Okay, back to you.
A neurodivergent travel consultant. A person who can consult hotels, because the ADA is like the standard, accessibility. This takes it to a whole nother degree of awareness. Mm-hmm. And so a person who is, which of course represents a whole nother opportunity. In your class, though, you should say, Adrian, that what your travel business allows people to do is to take their passion and it gives them access to the entire world of travel, to be able to make money, to monetize whatever their passion is, because of the access that it gives us. If they want to put together, neurodivergent groups to be able to travel, if they want to put together you name it, if they want to be the career opportunities that are available in travel. If a person says, hey, I want to be a wedding destination specialist, I want to be a da-da-da specialist, they can do it. If they're looking to raise money, the fundraising aspects of the vortex, but the biggest thing is the access that the business gives us to whatever the passion is of that person, and to be able to morph it, to mold it and make it, so now they can monetize it. Back to you, Brenda.
Wow, that was good. Anybody else? We always have great calls. Did anybody else want to share anything? But was somebody there, or they just need to mute?
Okay. Brenda, so we always said in our presentations that people will support a cause they believe in, especially if they're affected by it.
Yes. If it's something that is pulling your heartstrings, it's easy for you to work with it. It's easy for you to see it through, because it's what's pulling your heartstrings. And just like ADA, how the hotels had to make sure they had one room, that was accessible travel, that somebody with a wheelchair, the champion for the cause, should be able to get out there. And it is so worldwide spread to make these hotels get into that whole sensory system where they have rooms where you can control the lighting, like Rick said, where it's soundproof. So if someone is having an episode or something's going on, they're not disturbing other people, and you feel free to say, okay, we're going to work this out. What do you need? Blah, blah, blah. Everybody knows what their child needs, especially if their child is a special need. But what's happening is folks are not getting out. And even for you, Chantel, the director, that's how she made director, because she used her children and what they needed in order to get the people who was around her to come in for the $79, and then she went on and made director. But then you stop, because now the people thought that they were just donating $79 to help your family out, and now you're trying to come back and say, no, I really need you guys to, come on board. But what she should do, for those people who donated what they felt they were donating was $79 to her cause, she should now go back with a cause of special needs travel.
Come on now.
And how they can go on her vortex. And when they book travel on her vortex, it is helping out her son, because obviously they were there to help her out. But now she needs to push it forward to get them to do the whole special needs. There is so many, the whole vortex. So now there is so many things out there that we can do. Go ahead.
That's where people don't know their business. See, our team, like you say all the time, Glenn, we know our business. We know the fundraising aspects of the vortex. We know the We've drilled down to that level. And so, Chantel, that's something you can mention to her, even neurodivergent travel for Athena to be able to say, okay, we can put together these groups. But that's where you get away from just recruiting to now know your business and you're using it as a business tool.
Because like we know, there's so much money to be made with the vortex, but people don't know it and don't understand it. They don't know how to share it. And just like last week when we talked about the reward credits, we had one lady who at the end said, I thank you for this, because I would ask people, where do I find it? And they'd say, go to my back office. And she would say, where in her back office? Because nobody even knew where to go to learn about the reward credits, to actually direct her to finding the concierge who can give her an hour of their time, going through the whole membership site, showing her what she has. See, when you start getting into teaching and showing people what we have, that's when your business is going to explode. Because this whole conversation is a tool waiting to explode. But see, what happens is people get shy. They don't really want people to know what's going on in their family. They think they're the only ones. And that's not the case. You are not alone. There is so many people out there. And I'm trying to figure out how to talk to Rick's nephew about his son, because I know there's something there, and I know there's so many different programs out there that can help the little boy. He's 4 years old, but I'm not that close. We just saw him for the first time in I don't know how many years, but to even get that conversation going with him, to where there are so many programs out there that can help the little guy, where you don't have to stay in the house because you don't want an episode, where you don't have to go here because you don't want something to trigger him. There's so many ways. And then I was talking to somebody who said, oh, my girlfriend Dorothy, she lives in Boston. She's into special needs, early childhood development, just everything. And she was saying there is so many programs out in all of our states, public free programs that nobody even knows about because they don't ask. And she said they can take him to a public school and they'll have to evaluate him, and then they'd have to put him in a program free of charge. And see, people don't even know all the things that we have available to us, along with our Surge 365 business. So I think when we all start talking and realizing that it's just not me, it's worldwide, and so many people are looking, can I get out of the house? How do I go to the beach? I mean, we have the information on how to do that, but we need to step out and let it be known and talk to people and let them know. There's all these different programs going together. Can you imagine how powerful it would be if all these programs connected?
Oh man!
On a national stage, we would, every hotel out there would be like, okay, get that lighting guy in here. We got to do this. We got to do that.
This conversation. This conversation is not a general conversation in a surge environment. That's because we all think outside the box. And so because of that, we actually have the answers to connect to outside the box, except we hold it in the box. You know, I was just thinking, and Adrian's a nurse. If I was putting together a neurodiversity travel experience, I'll be like, Adrian, would you join us as a nurse, and we'll pay you?
Right. Yeah, to just be there.
Hey,
See,
Rick,
we create our own jobs.
What if
Go ahead,
that
Ron.
event, Rick, what if that event was like one of these organizations, companies that's a supplier of ours? You might have heard of it, a little organization called Royal Caribbean. They have a specialty department on their whole cruise line, all their ships, but they have a specialty department to deal with families with autistic children. There's a whole division, whole department, whole group of people that under a program with a group that you want to be able to set up a life vision program for a family or a group of families or an organization. They're there to serve us.
And I would go there and I would look at their model and I would study their model, and guess how my next travel trip would look?
You're
It
going
would look just
Royal
it would look
Caribbean.
just like that model, and to make sure that I'm covering all the squares of that model. And if I'm going, I'm a
Yeah.
consultant and I'm talking to a hotel, guess what I'm recommending?
That's right.
You study
That's
them.
right.
Business
Travel
is
Agent
here.
University.
Yep. Back to you, Brenda.
That's true. Wow. Anybody else? Wow. Well, I think we have a lot of information today. Like these calls, we don't plan them. We just let it flow. And we learned a lot from each other today, where I know we're going to all be connecting individually, doing different things, because once you have a cause, oh man, once you have a cause, it just explodes.
That's
because people love causes. People love to be able to work for a reason.
That's
People
right.
will love when you say to them, hey, thank you for helping me, get to this level. I'm just using her as an example. And now you can continue to help me and my son by going to our website and booking your travel. You're going to save. And then you're going to continue, even like we noticed, we've been doing this for a minute, especially with the vortex, when it comes to churches, when it comes to organizations, when it comes to companies. We've been doing this. We know the millions, and I'm saying millions of dollars that can be made by these people booking on the vortex of that company, the church, the organization. And money would just start rolling in, and being able now to do so much, even for Ron, the red cars for free, the wheelchair. I mean, now you have even opened up a door for that family to find out what else they can get.
Oh,
what
yeah.
else is out there? Because there's a lot of programs out there like that. There's a lot of programs. Rick's sister, she's gone on to glory, bless her heart, bless her soul. She was a champion for finding different free organizations and where to find free stuff.
Yeah,
she was so good at that. Whatever city she went to, she found out where everything was. And if you asked her, how do I find this? She knew. She knew. She just championed herself. But what we have to do is we have to step back off the pride, because the pride will stop us from going and looking for what we really need. And what you really need is right out there. All you got to do is ask for it. And so kudos to everybody on sharing, because I myself learned a lot. And I'm quite sure a lot of people on the line here learned a lot. And it will help us now be able to go out, find our cause, what we're going to do with it, because that cause is what's going to change your life. And when you start changing other people's lives, everyone's going to get blessed. Everyone will be a success, because just think of St. Jude. St. Jude started off with something very small, and now look at them. Everybody started off like you're starting off. So find out what your cause is, because right now, Surge 365 definitely can be the vehicle that they can use to get where they need to go.
That's good.
Amen.
So I want everybody to have a great rest of your day, because like I said earlier, spring has sprung, the trees are blooming, the birds are singing, and this is a great time of year. I really like spring. The weather is just perfect, but it might not be spring for some of y'all. Some of y'all might still be cold with snow.
A snowstorm tonight.
Might be still some snow
Hey,
where
Brenda, as
you
long
guys
as
are.
the sun is shining.
As long as the sun
Brenda.
is
As
shining.
long as the sun is shining.
But you know, I used to say that when I lived in Colorado. Now that I live in Charleston.
I know. It's beautiful down here. I got the patio door open. The breeze is coming in. I can hear the birds. But anyway, everybody listen.
God bless
have a great
everybody.
rest of your day.
Bye. Thank
you,
you,
we are the
everyone.
most trusted travel team in Service 365. And we will see you guys on the beaches of the world. All righty. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Everyone have a
Bye,
blessed
guys.
day.